Hi everyone. So I'm starting to notice this pattern. Whenever I get a book like this, which I buy basically to roast, and I just assume, man, look at this. This is like designed to like bother me, like down to my like microbes inside my like cells. What happens is the stuff that I think is going to be terrible and I'm going to hate, I end up loving. The stuff that I think I'm going to like or just have a neutral, like that Avengers from a couple days, that ends up being like the worst thing I ever saw. So for people who don't know Gwenpool, and that was me up to about an hour ago, Gwenpool is another alternate dimension person brought into the Marvel universe, and she is a combination of kind of like Spider-Gwen, although I'm not quite clear on that whole aspect, and Deadpool. So she's got Deadpool's like personality and pop culture references, and I don't really understand why she's Gwenpool. I mean, I'm guessing I don't know. I can't even speak intelligently on that. So this issue is issue 17, and I remember when the first one came out because I was really impressed by the art. And I flipped through it, and it looked just like this OMG, LOL, so random. Oh my God, do you know Deadpool and Captain America? Like, it was very much of the, and I know this is a huge controversy a couple of years ago, the fake geek girl. It's like, when SJWs say they love something, that means they've heard of it. When you talk to an SJW, you can't name a single character they don't like. Because since they don't really like any of the characters, they just say they love all of them. So one thing I noticed about this is it opened big. I think it opened with like 80,000 issues sold on the first one. And then it had a huge drop off. Now it's at like 17,000, which is I'm going to show right here. The funny thing is, it's above the flagship character, Captain Marvel, and below Sam Wilson as fake Captain America. So, and the thing I'm going to say about this is not only good, it's excellent. Not only is it excellent, it's the perfect. So the thing Marvel's been trying to do, let's appeal to girls. Let's appeal to younger kids. This is perfect. The problem is it is being buried under 90 other titles, most of which are trash, several of which are the same kind of like Archie YA style. So, you know, when you've gone through like Squirrel Girl and it's trash, and Hellcat, which is literally just like stores can't even give those issues away. This looks very similar, and it's down there with those in the low sales. But I mean, this is great. This is literally, this is going to sound like I'm exaggerating. This is something that should be given out in a college course when you're talking about the medium. So we get in and we have, the intro page that Marvel does. Except for it's the actual character talking to us in costume, which is cool. A nice, simple graphic. And we get to, she gives us a little background, is that she's from another universe. I don't know if it's ours, but it's the one where the Marvel superheroes are their characters in comic books. She was able to travel back to them, and then basically some problems happened, and she ended up deciding to stay in her universe. So it starts off, and one thing that was like superficially driving me nuts until I realized it's just her thing, is that all of the balloons are pink, which was just very distracting. Usually they have white backgrounds, and if they're a color, it's because you're trying to separate the voiceover of two different characters so you can tell them apart. But when it's just one person talking the whole time, and it's the dialogue balloon, and it's not just hers, but it's other people, I just found it, but I got over it. Okay, so another funny thing. The character Gwenpool looks basically almost exactly like the editor, Heather Ontos. Now, Heather Ontos is one of those people who, supposedly she got hired literally for being like a Twitter personality. I can't totally confirm that one, but the character actually looks just like her. I've had a couple interactions with her. They didn't go that great. It was kind of the, the standard SJW, if you don't like this, it's because you don't like women. If you don't like that, it's because you don't like black people. So anyway, she's back in the real world. The problem is that things from the comic book world are starting to intrude. For instance, she can see the title of her story. By the way, remember I was talking about Marvel's been doing this thing where they waste a whole page on something that's not dynamic. This is because, it's well done. This looks like it's actually drawn. It's not 3D models. The character fits with the background. The lettering is done really well, and then it's a bit where, she can see it. So now she's back in her job, and it's like a really bad job. and but they're not falling into the classic tropes of like she's not an SJW cliche. She seems like a pretty good person, a good kid. She's pleasant, but she has her own personality. But it's not like a cartoon personality. She's not like OMGing all the time, and her it's not just pop culture references and all this stuff. By the way, I know nothing about the writer and artist, and I think that helps. So she goes in, she's drawing, and she's basically talking about she wants to be a comic book artist. She might want to get a trade, something to fall back on. But then this is this really cool thing where she starts to figure out while she's in these panels that she's in a panel. Then when she concentrates, she can kind of sense the panel. She actually grabs the edge of it. This is what I love. So John Byrne did do this stuff in like She-Hulk originally. So she grabs the panel, she tries to push it, but then she's still in the real world. So she's like pushing on this other woman in the subway's forehead, and everyone's like looking at her like she's a crazy person. She apologizes, and kind of a typical New York thing, they just kind of leave without even saying anything. Then she starts then this is where Elsa gets good. Now she takes the train. I think she's in New York. She takes a subway, and then she seems to be in kind of a suburban style house. So I don't know if she lives at like the end of the line in Queens or Brooklyn, something. But you come home, you meet her dad. I had a little bit of a take back when I realized her dad looks younger than me. I was like, oh yeah. I forget I'm old sometimes. But here's the other thing, great. You're meeting a father figure who's not an idiot, he's not a goon, he's not a phoebe, he's not an abuser. He's a legitimately good dad. He's talking to her about the New York Comic Con coming up. It's hard to get tickets. He's been working on her tickets. He's also basically trying to help her out with her goal of being a comic book artist. And while also stating very clearly that it's a very hard gig to get. This is like a classically good dad, and I can't even remember the last time I saw a good dad. So then she goes into her room, and she knows something's up. She's seeing her thoughts in caption balloons. Then her dialogue is describing her seeing it. Then she does this thing where she's trying to experiment with the medium, and she just does this really long monologue in her head. This is where, like I said, this comic is perfect. Go buy it. I can't vouch for the earlier issues. I've heard good things. One of the problems is, so one of the main vectors to get hired by a comic book company is you're just on social media a lot, or you're online a lot. You do comic book reviews, you have a Twitter account, and you're on it all day. Tons of editors and writers and artists. I would say that that's actually the main way to get into comics these days. To that end, all these people, they just basically say everything is great. They love every Marvel book, every Marvel character. They love all the DC stuff. They love everything all the time. And then they get in and you find out they like hate 80% of the country. But that's how they get in. So she does this thing. So what I'm saying is, when I used to hear good things about this, I said, I hear good things about this. I also hear good things about Hellcat and Squirrel Girl, which I know is trash. I read good reviews of The Avengers with Mark Waid. I read good reviews of everything because all reviews are good now. So that's one of the reasons I kind of started this, is to give you the bad and the good, even within an issue. I'll tell the good parts in a bad issue, the bad parts in a good issue. Honestly, this book has been good the whole way. So then she experiments with doing a very long, overly long monologue, and she actually gets knocked out the window by her own caption box. Another good, effective full page. She falls down. Then this is kind of, they treat it like it was a suicide attempt. So she goes in, and they're like, maybe it was an accident, but maybe something was up. We're going to keep her for observation. Her brother comes in. I don't know exactly what happened, but it sounds like her brother could either see the other, or the Marvel dimension, or he could go into it, but now he's pretending like he doesn't. But I mean, this is doing every single thing. The funny thing is, as much as I'm liking it, it doesn't seem like a Marvel book. What it seems like is a very, very, very high quality indie book, which is interesting because you get to mix with the Marvel. I mean, actually, she hasn't done anything with the Marvel universe so far. This could literally have been like an indie book, but the point is that she's not always in the Marvel universe. Right now she's in her own universe, where when you fall out of a window, you get taken to the hospital, and then they keep you under observation. So this is great. Her brother, so her brother, she has a good relationship with her brother. He's not some creep, not a drug user, not like weirdly attracted to her, just like a good normal brother, a good normal dad. So then, oh, by the way, just look at the design on the character. This is great. Looks like a girl, looks the right age, but like cute. Like, you know, they do this thing with Squirrel Girl where they're trying to do the body diversity thing, and they just make her look like she's got like some kind of genetic problem. But look at these backgrounds. This looks like an actual modern hospital. So they give her the pencil, and she realizes that, you know, if comic books are made, if she wants to make one, then maybe she can kind of like affect reality. So she holds it, she pushes it down, she crosses the borderline, and then she, you know, she has a moment of realization, and then she erases borders. She sees herself in another border, and then basically it's like it's the Matrix. It's the, man, this is great. It's the Matrix. We haven't seen one Marvel character. In fact, they've only been vaguely referenced in a notebook. But it's got kind of like a Marvel spirit of being very adventurous. It's doing some things that John Byrne tried, but it's just amping it up to 11, and it all works. I cannot remember another comic that I thought was perfect. This thing is perfect. And then this is cool where they show like the past, you know, some of the pages from this issue, like the one we just saw. And then look, this is what would be the next issue where they come in and she's gone. So I guess she's either back, or I think she's actually in an area between the dimensions. You see past issues, but man, so the next issue looks kind of like more like the stuff that kind of turned me off, where it was just like OMGing about the Marvel Universe. I will get a look. A lot of times I'll say like, hey, I like this issue, but it's not really my style. This is a very, very interesting concept. So even though I hate half of these characters, I want to see when this... So my problem before with Gwenpool is like, it just felt like she was like, you know, like a cartoon character, like she wasn't a person. They've taken to spend a whole issue to really get me to realize that there's a person underneath this cartoon exterior. So I am really interested in what's going on. So you should be able to find this. This came out today. I'm pretty sure all the back issues are pretty easy to buy. They're not. It's not selling that great. I think the first one might have sold out, but they reprinted it. But yeah, if Marvel had their so I didn't explain this before I go. Marvel has a flood the shelves strategy. It's pretty self-explanatory. They have the Disney money, so their idea is to pump up an ungodly amount of books that they do not remotely have the staff or the talent to crew up 90 quality books, or to even manage 90 quality books. So you get a bunch of trash, and then you get these gems. But things like this, who's kind of an odd, wonky, it's like Gwenpool, it's alternate universe. It's not exactly standard comic art style. If they were at a reasonable size, if they were at 50 titles, you would be able, this wouldn't be confused with the other vaguely similar, you know, girl-centric or trying to attract the girl audience. This could literally be the only one, and you could really prove it. But go check it out. Highest possible recommendation. This is also a really good thing to buy and give to someone, especially a kid in school. They're going to find it very like innovative and inventive and fun. And especially they finally did what they've been trying to do: get a book that would appeal to girls. So I'm going to give this to my daughter. Not being ripped, obviously. So thanks for watching. Tell me what you think about Gwenpool. Tell me what you think about 90 books coming out from Marvel. And that's just like floppies. That's not hardcovers and stuff like that. Tell me if you've read this, or tell me if I've gotten you to check it out. Please check it out. I actually would say I recommend this more than I've recommended anything in any of the videos. Thanks for watching. I got 3 new comics to review tomorrow. All new comics: The Forge, Spider-Man: Renew Your Vows, and then like Adventures of Superman. Somebody asked me to review it, so I bought that. So is it? Yeah, so 2 DC and 1 Marvel. Thanks for watching. Share, subscribe, like, and hit the bell that gives you notifications for when all my new videos come out.